These are gonna be fed to my worms. What's going on, everybody? Rob here. Today we're gonna go over a couple things. This is the Veggetti Veggetti. This is the Veggetti Pro. This actually is to make a spaghetti out of your squash. Now these are actually two squash I grown in my backyard. I grown these on the side of my house, really. This one we're gonna make spaghetti. This one we're gonna make squash slices. All you do is you make your little thick slices right here, put oil and put your seasoning and put them in the air fryer. Let me get a knife for this one right. We're gonna see if this spaghetti slicer works as good as it should. It's actually taped down pretty good where I can't get inside of it. All right, so this is to make spaghetti out of your squash, and there's heart of palm. You could already buy heart of palm. Heart of palm. It's a different texture to make the healthier spaghetti. Don't got all the carbs in it, but one of them is heart of palm, and heart of palm really has. When you first taste it, it's like kind of, you're gonna cook it down, but it's like an apple, really. But then from there, you get used to eating it as spaghetti, and the carbs ain't there as regular spaghetti. So this is the spaghetti maker right here. It got a suction cup at the bottom. So I was actually thinking about holding it. Let's see if the suction cup helps. Let me see if I push it down. Nope, no suction cup to this right here anyway, so I'm gonna have to hold it. But so this is the kind of protective thing because there is a blade on it already. You see the blade on it? You gotta take the protective thing off the blade, but then in here there's the different blades. See, there's different blades in here and one at the bottom. Let me put this in right. And a different blade in here. So one that says ribbon cut, thin spiral or thick spiral. So I gotta ask my wife what spaghetti she wants. But then you press the release button here. There's a release button, and then it comes out right here, so you could clean it or whatever. And this comes out the top where you could change the blades in right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this all washed up and get this all ready. I'll be right back with you. All right, let me try and get this in here. Make sure this is in here. And then I have the pieces out. So the ribbon cut, I'm putting in the bottom. The thin cut, I'm putting next to it. Ooh, these are sharp. They did cut my sponge. And then the thick cut, put it right in there, okay? So I washed my zucchini already, but guess what? It's not gonna fit, because don't make a mess. Talking to my grandson over here. All right, so I'm gonna cut it down where it is able to fit. I cut it down where it's able to fit. So basically, I'm gonna like cut it in half. And I think this zucchini is gonna be too big for this, to tell you the truth. Oh man, I didn't cut it enough. So let's start with the other half. Started going bad on some parts, so I'm cutting off the parts that were going bad to get to a regular part. These are gonna be fed to my worms. Those are going to my worms. This is going to be on here and then bring it in a little bit. So I don't know if this locks it or this just pushes it in. And look at that, your spaghetti's coming out. That is pretty cool. This would be nice if this were I guess you could say stainless steel, so it'll be a little bit more heavier. It doesn't mind if it's sticking off the top, because when it sticks off of the top, that's not really going on the spaghetti. See, it comes over the top. It's the bottom part that is cutting the spaghetti. So this is thick spaghetti from homegrown squash. Guess I should have put a bowl over there to catch it. And that blade was actually super sharp. Am I in the picture here? I really kind of wish it'll be a little bit heavier, because my countertop, it won't stick to my countertop. So there's a little green handle right here. I don't know what that's for, maybe to kind of push it in. That's all she wrote. So this piece right here, I'm gonna make into a chip and put with the rest. So here is the spaghetti that me and my wife are gonna have tonight. We're gonna use some Rouse spaghetti sauce and some very lean hamburger meat. So let me get this put in a bowl. Let's see if we can do this big one right here. Now, if you're gonna store this, you could put this in this bowl right here. A lot of people say put a piece of paper towel on the bottom and leave it for 4 days. You could store it for up to 4 days in your refrigerator. I'll put that to the worms. All right. So this right here, I'm gonna make chips. This is all homemade squash. So this actually does fit in here, but this is really massive. So let's see if we could get this big, massive one to cut.
So what happened right here is this piece of squash was entirely too big, so the Veggetti Maker cannot use a big piece of squash like this. I had to bring in the big guns and have my wife come help me try to hold it in place, and we figured we were just going to take it off.
It needs thin squash. You can't really use thick squash. So like if this was stainless steel and it had its own corkscrew that when you're screwing it. Okay. Okay. Thank you, love. I made a mess on the side over here. That's enough for spaghetti for us, right? Okay, I get the rest. You're laughing? All right. So that's the spaghetti we made for tonight. That's what we're gonna have for tonight. Okay, so it won't do the big squashes. It won't do the mega humongous squashes. Now, here's one thing with me. Guess what all that is? If I throw the squash in the barrel for next year, if I dry them out and throw them in the same barrel I grow my squash in, I'll be able to grow those squash next year. See, there's squash seeds that came out. So it's not made for these big mega humongous ones. And it's not sticking on my counter properly. So I think it's a good concept, bad product, unless you're buying the little skinny thin squash. If you're buying the little thin squash and you want healthier spaghetti, that'll be worth it. If you're buying little little skinny thin squash and you want to make squash spaghetti, which is healthier, it'll be worth it. But if you want, you know, my thoughts, my theories, I mean, on this is it should have a corkscrew, a big bolt on the bottom of this that is in conjunction with this. So when you are turning this, it is closing like this, and that'll make it 110% better. But it doesn't walk itself. You kind of gotta push as you're going, and it's just so super light where it doesn't give you that. So industrial wise, if they had an industrial one, it'd be more worth it than if it'll be this one right here. So would I use it again to make this? Because I'm a health buff, I would. But all they needed was a bottom screw at the bottom, so this could go like this as you're screwing it, so it could push itself on its own, and that'll be worth it. Either way, I got all these seeds right now, so I'm gonna dry these out, throw these in the sun. I'm gonna cut this and maybe a couple pieces of this, put some oil on them, and make little like biscuits, not biscuits, little slices out of them, and put them in the air fryer. I'm gonna put oil on them and probably some, I got some back of the yard seasoning I'm gonna put on them. Talk to you later. Subscribe, like, and share.